Okie dokie. Today is day two, way two of 5 ways to reset your metabolism, all within the 5 pound challenge. And today it is taming the inflammation loop. Yesterday we talked about shortening your eating window. Today it's all about inflammation. So if you've ever felt like puffy, achy, bloated, or just kind of off in your own body, even like your labs could look fine and you still just don't feel right, often inflammation is behind it. Chronic inflammation over time can quietly build up from day to day just from what we're eating, how we're sleeping, how we're thinking can affect inflammation, and that can really hinder our metabolism's function. That is because, like I mentioned, inflammation is your body's healing response, and it is helpful short term, but it is very damaging when it never turns off. That's because chronic inflammation keeps your body in defense mode. It's always in that stress, that fight or flight, which will divert resources away from things like metabolism and detoxification and repair simply to keep us alive. So that will also drive insulin resistance, which we've talked about. We want our bodies to be very insulin sensitive and not resistant to that insulin. It will also drive fat storage versus fat release and using fat as a fuel. So it will promote fat storage, and it can certainly cause an imbalance in our hormones. Pro-inflammatory foods are one big source. They're not the only source of chronic inflammation, but they're a very big source and a very clear source of inflammation for our bodies. And that is because pro-inflammatory foods like refined sugars, seed oils, processed snacks, those can trigger an immune response and cause oxidative stress in our body and cortisol spikes, which cortisol we know is a stress hormone. And so again, it's telling your body, hey, I'm not safe, I'm not safe. The higher your inflammation or the more chronic your inflammation levels are elevated, the more your cells become resistant to insulin, so insulin resistant, and leptin, meaning your brain and your metabolism stop hearing that you're full and keep wanting to eat. Your brain does not know that it is done eating. And so then we keep eating, we keep constantly snacking, and we are not going to shut down our digestive tract long enough for that to repair, but also we're going to keep chronically snacking and taking in those extra calories, which we do not need. And the result is stubborn weight, fatigue, poor sleep, cravings, body aches, puffiness, bloating, all that nasty stuff. So we are going to talk about 3 big triggers of chronic inflammation from foods that we're eating. Like I said, there's other things that cause inflammation in the body, but we're just going to try to simplify it as much as possible for this way to 5 ways to reset your metabolism. And we're just going to work on avoiding 3 things. Processed seed oils, so that's vegetable oil, canola oil, soybean, sunflower, and safflower oils. So processed seed oils, and then refined sugars. So baked goods, sweetened drinks, cereals, sauces, things that are sweet and have an ingredient list. Like fruit has sugar in it, but the sugar in fruit is not refined. It's a natural sugar. Honey is a natural sugar. It's not a refined sugar. And while we don't need a bunch of sugars in general, we're just not even going to worry about those other natural sugars. Right now, just worry about avoiding the refined sugars. And then packaged snacks and processed foods. So anything with a long shelf life, unrecognizable ingredients, things that you don't know what is going into your body, that's a sign that we probably shouldn't be having it because it can create that chronic inflammation response within our body. So don't worry about, all the noise you've heard about, all kinds of things to avoid. If you know something bothers you, if you know you're sensitive to a food like gluten, like dairy, certainly keep avoiding those if you feel better off of those foods. But for now, we're only going to take out processed seed oils, refined sugar, packaged snacks, and processed foods. So things with an ingredient list. And then we're going to swap in healthy alternatives. So we talked about removing processed seed oils, but that doesn't mean we can't just ever have any oils or fats. We want to have fats. It's actually really good for our body to have fats, but it's good for our body to have healthy fats. So things like olive oil, avocado oil. So instead of having salad dressings based with vegetable oil or canola oil, make your own salad dressings or find some. They're out there that are based with olive oil or avocado oil. Coconut oil, coconut. grass-fed butter, avocados, things like that. Those are all healthy fats. Making sure you're swapping in colorful produce, so berries, leafy greens, cruciferous vegetables. So we're going to take out the refined sugars, the packaged snacks, the processed foods, the things with ingredient labels as much as possible, at least the ones that include those on the ingredient list, and substitute in whole foods. So we're going to have like berries and crunchy vegetables instead of chips and other crunchy things. And then, of course, good sources of protein. Again, we want to hydrate. We talked about this yesterday when we were talking about shortening the eating window, but we also want to make sure we're doing this all throughout our 5-pound challenge and when we are trying to address our metabolism, because hydration helps flush inflammatory byproducts out of the body. So it's not enough to just not put them in. Then we also have to get the inflammation out. We have to help the body do that. Also, gentle movement improves lymphatic flow and oxygen delivery to the tissues, and that is going to be one of the ways we discuss is gentle movement. But for now, just know that you need to be drinking water and we need to be moving our bodies. We can't just sit and expect the inflammation to leave our body once we stop putting it in. So things you can expect when you start eliminating inflammatory foods, even just these big three, is less bloating, less puffiness. So that can be around the midsection, but that can also be like on the skin, on the face, in the chin. And who doesn't want to remove the puffiness here? I think we all would like that. Inflammation will drive water retention, and so that's where we see a lot of that puffiness. You'll also notice you might have clearer thinking and focus. Your brain's inflammation will go down because inflammation goes all throughout the body. There is a thin barrier called the blood-brain barrier that separates the brain from the rest of the body, and inflammation can certainly cross that. And so if your body is inflamed, your brain is inflamed. When we reduce the inflammation in your body, we can help reduce the inflammation in your brain. So you can also have from that better energy, better mood stability. We're not having these mood swings. Your partner isn't saying, what is going on right now? Why are we having this discussion? This is not you. And it's typically because your brain is just on fire and it needs to be cooled off. We'll certainly improve fat burning when we decrease inflammation because that can help with improving insulin sensitivity. And then, of course, fewer aches and pains in the joints, fewer flare-ups on the skin. Digestion will just work better because we can flow things through the digestive tract a lot better. When the digestive tract is inflamed, things either move too fast or they don't move fast enough. So today, what I want you to do is look for those big three inflammatory foods in your meals, in your pantry, in your refrigerator, and try to swap them out for something real. This doesn't have to be a pantry sweep and a fridge sweep right now. Just know what you are getting exposed to daily and then start swapping them out for better alternatives. And then you can jot down what you notice even by tomorrow or the next day. Maybe less bloating, better focus, a calmer mind, or fewer cravings. Because taming inflammation, it's not about restriction, right? It's not about like, don't eat anything ever again, anything that's good or anything that's fun or anything like that. It's about healing and it's about balance, and you are teaching your body to feel safe again. And by eliminating these foods that causes chronic inflammation, that is exactly what you will do. Your body will start to say, okay, I'm not fighting off these foods on top of everything else I have going on right now. And this is when real change happens, is when that inflammation can start to go down. So tomorrow, we will talk about how movement helps regulate your metabolism, also helps reduce inflammation. And not by burning calories does it do that, but it does it by balancing the system. Make sure you're jotting these things down in your journal or in your portal, and we will see you tomorrow.